Yeah, let me have the privilege of the 68th session of National Reincarnation post-COVID. Now, this particular series has been had been initiated somewhere in May end, and it is going on without a break every week twice. Now it will be it has crossed 50. Now it is almost end of 60. Now, these sessions are held so that each sector can play a very dynamic role for the development of nation, and many of these things are for the global development. Grows, and there's a participation by a well-enlightened people. Now, what do we exactly mean by that? These experts from various sectors come, they give their view, they give their way things are going, the way things have to go to ensure that we get back into a proper developed situation. That's why we are calling this as national reincarnation. A small slide I will present now. That is the topic, of course, is enhanced role for academia, for innovation in science and technology, for national reincarnation. A very, very important topic. Unless there is a proper innovation in science and technology, whatever we are achieving cannot go further. Now, India is famous as a science and technology hub, as an education hub. We are one of the first people to bring education to the whole world, as we all know. And we have two very big experts whom I will introduce in another few minutes' time. And let us understand what is India. When we talk of India, we should know that we are talking of almost 206 countries put together. That is because of the population. And also it's a vast country with almost 3 million square kilometers area. It has got land, it has got water, it has got so many, it has got things, some of them in so many, that we got too many religions, too many culture, too many systems, too much of past. We are almost a 10,000-year-old country, but unfortunately we had a 800 years of rule by other outsiders, and we were liberated our freedom 70 years back. So whether we are a 70-year-old young country or 10,000-year-old civilization is something which we have to decide. And we have decided to call ourselves a 10,000-year-old civilization rather than a 70-year-old young country. So why? Because of that, we are culturally, we are scientifically, we are morally, we are ethically, we are on a different wavefront. Now, this particular series we have started more because there is this COVID cases, because COVID has really destroyed economy. COVID has really brought us to the knees, and it is something which is, something which is very invisible and becoming a world war. And there is no physical destruction, but all moral destruction, economic destruction, destruction in confidence. And now, last 2 months, fortunately, things are growing, things are getting back in shape, and we are very happy that some of the financial numbers are really, really good. Today's news says that at least from a stock exchange point of view, we are already we will become a $5 trillion economy in under 2 years' time. So, which is a very big news, and which is something which we should celebrate. And for all those things, science and technology is going to play an immense and massive role. Now, education as such, a small definition we have tried to put. I'm not again going into the depth of this presentation. And we all know that India, being a 1.4 billion people country, has got almost 600 million people who are below the age of 30. And in that, even we found that almost 200 million are in the age group of 18 to 23, which is a very, very important age group. And we have innovation of a different grade. Many things have not gone to the ground. That's why we need the experts to say how things can be taken up, how things have to go further, and how things are going on, and what are the changes which are required to make this come to the real system. Real system means what? Because there's a huge expectation from the world, from India. And R&D is the one which is going to play. Today, in pharma, we are something which are, now we are almost turning out to be among the topmost in the world. Okay, some of the biggest pharma companies are in the world. And we are the ones we are supposed to be getting rid of this COVID through vaccines. We are the largest producer of vaccine. And much of it is internally developed. There are almost 7 to 10 Indian companies who have developed it internally. And of course, we are also working along with other companies developed in other countries. So R&D is something it need not be pharma alone. Almost in every sector we are doing. But our problem is we are doing in bits and pieces. There is no concerted effort to consolidate, to make it grow well. Right from a smallest toy to a spacecraft, we have to have a consolidated approach in R&D. And I'm sure our two experts would have a lot of things to tell. And today we are going to talk in terms of how education, innovation in education sector, education, how they can contribute and what they should be doing, how they are reframing themselves in the new dimension and how they will, make their presence felt for, yes, let me conclude this soon. Again, this slide is also slightly important because sustainability in innovation is also important because innovation should not be one of the one-shot innovation. Somebody does something today and forgets about it for ages. So it has to be sustainable, it has to be usable, and it has to have a big relief for the users, and it should make a dent in the way things process. Now, let me come quickly to this secured governance. Now, secured governance, where does it play a big role? Because in all these things, whenever we talk, we just need finance, funding. And by tax collection, by which people expect that you put so much money in education, when money is just not there in your bank, somebody asking you for money is not going to help you. So, in secured governance comes as a big relief. Secured governance, it takes care of the value valuation to fund a project. Okay. So when education has to grow, there's a simple way of funding. Of course, one is a conventional way where you talk to alumni, where you talk the innovation center you create, entrepreneur center you create. But it takes care of every education institution brings huge value around education institutions. And education institutions have got almost 4 to 5 FSI in various places. So some portion of the FSI is taken off and that is commercialized. The commercial portion starts funding the education, which comes as a big relief for the funding which are required. And that can take care of much of the requirement of fund because real estates are pretty big in education institutions. I mean, all this thing, as people would know, I've written a large number of books which are for the development. And with that, I will introduce our second speaker is slightly delayed. He's on the way. So I will introduce Prof.E.Ilamathian. Ilamathian is an acclaimed writer, academician associated with a lot of organizations, India, international. From Indian point of view, he's associated with prestigious universities in terms of Madras University, Apollo University, Amity University, Alagappa University. Today, he's coming as a registrar of Apollo, but not representing Apollo. He is being an educationist. He has his own thoughts. Of course, he will talk something little about Apollo also, but he will talk in terms of how education can go and make its presence felt and get into a different dimension. And Professor Ilamathian. Hello.
Sir, good evening, sir. Thank you for the nice introduction about me. I'm basically a teacher, a university teacher. Out of my exposure, I traveled to private and government university, and I worked for a decade also in industry. We know the expectation of the industry. So my first task for innovation will be a basic introduction about the innovation. Of course, the slide is presented, but from practical point of view, I feel innovation, any kind of innovation coming from a scientist or technocrat or maybe a pure science person or humanities person, that should reach the end user. That should be beneficial to the end user. So innovation, that should be desirable, that should be possible within the technology, and there is a viability also for the market. For example, now COVID-19 devastated many, I think, the pandemic scenario in India and abroad. So all other countries, they were trying to find out a new vaccine for the virus, COVID-19 virus. See, the innovators, I think they are in the pharmaceutical or in the biotechnological or pathological, all this teamwork they have done. Then India is the first country they are ready to use this product for their end users. And our chairman, Honorable Pratap Reddy Garu, he has done the injection as a sample. See, he's a role model for others. So he has done the injection for himself and he is testing for his body. Then he is applying this vaccine medicine for the frontline worker like doctors, nurses, and assistant all. So innovation is an area which I mean, our Indians have done a lot of contribution for the society. This is accomplished through more effective products like telephone to even I can say any kind of service, like we are in the service industry. So any processing development, the technology is useful for them. The pure technology sometime will be integrated with this kind of humanitarian approach. No, for every vaccine or every kind of technology development, either in the instrumental development or in the process development or in the service development, the main focus should be speedy and also easy reachable for the society. That is my core idea. And also the next slide, I'm just waiting sustainability.
You want me to play your slides now only?
Pardon, sir?
Should I play your
playing
slides?
the slide.
1 minute.
Yeah, you can play. Yes, thank you.
Just 1 minute.
Yes, doctor. Second slide.
No, I'll come. No, I'm not come to the slide. Welcome, madam.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Good you joined. I just finished my talk, and Prof.E.Ilamathian has just started. He's giving a small presentation. You are at the right time. Only I have to present because he's coming. He's talking to the mobile. In under 2 minutes' time, his presentation. Then I'll introduce you to the audience.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much.
Yeah. You're able to see?
Yes, doctor.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Shekhar, for sharing the basic information about my lecture. Sharing of information to you.
So this is the first slide.
Yeah, slide. And second one, this is a basic introduction about the innovation. I think we can go in for the second slide directly. I just spoke I spoke regarding the general introduction about the innovation. And innovation, actually, the concentration should be on the sustainability. Some medicine can be invented or some instrument can be invented, but how to sustain for a long utility value of this product. So sustainability is a long-term maintenance and of well-being, which has environmental and social and economical dimension. Of course, sustainable development is also part and parcel of the innovation. The development, what we mean here as academicians, we mean that it meets the needs of the current generation, Say for example, COVID-19 vaccine, without compromising the ability for further generation. That means the further generation we should keep in mind as a forefront variable. We should take it forward to further future generation. Either in India and globally, the medicine to be validated. And as far as now we are concerned, we are into healthcare industry. But now, when I worked in a government university also, where our concentrations on sustainable development of the, I mean, any kind of pedagogy or whatever the system we do, we will relate to the future generation. So technology is one of the parameters. And when the technology get used, the growth automatically occur. When the growth is there, simultaneously the productivity and efficiency of the people will increase. And here it requires sustainability. How to maintain? That is, sustainability is to be maintained by refreshing, and also taking it forward with a kind of study, and whether the study is again useful for the population, and how to present the study as a viable method for treatment or any kind of activity which we do. Over to next slide, doctor. Some of the facts I would like to emphasize upon. There are some uncertainty. Technical outcomes of the innovation process cannot be known as ex ante. That is, it cannot stand alone. It can be called as a incremental or radical kind of innovation. It may be technical, and it have economic dimension and social dimensions too. Gradual and cumulative process. It's a kind of it's incremental type of thing, will be gradual and cumulative process. Almost all most of the all innovations contain new application of existing knowledge. But of course, the innovation involves exploring and searching. That's my personal view, that first the need analysis, then explore what is the problem with that, then searching for the resources to get outcome out of it. Again, the innovation is the process of contributing to the stock of knowledge and adding economic value to the knowledge. See, for example, if any kind of information is coming from the brain, our brain is, especially human brain, is having millions of neurons and electrons which contribute for the new innovations. But that should be utilized properly by the younger generation, especially in this process. The academia is a real catalyst to induce the changes in the mind of the student creatively to contribute for the innovation. And the innovation is an interactive nature. It's a teamwork. Actually, when innovation is to be done, a team, like-minded team in the same domain, will sit together and analyze it. And the nature of interaction creates multiplying effect on the national level. So for this interaction, normally in university level, we take international collaboration also. Those who are the expertise in the field, they are invited to join the team and make presentation. We test the process, and naturally, national innovation will lead to global innovation. And the ability of the country as a political or a cultural or economic entity to contribute to their stock knowledge and add economic value to the knowledge. Generally, it depends on national innovation system. Innovation at the global development. See, for example, the contribution of innovation to economic growth and well-being. The next point I would like to emphasize upon the impact of globalization. Now we are calling globalization, privatization, and also I say that GLP, liberalization also. So the impact of globalization on development and innovation is contributing for the liberalization. So the liberalization, what I mean here is the ideas generated by the innovators are liberalized to go to any country, and they are also exchanging their own ideas, and we will merge the idea together and contribute to the society. So the all innovation should be inclusive of all kind of requirements. For example, what is the need, how to get this, timeliness, everything is all inclusive of the innovation. And for university level, we are contributing education and skill and also human capital. So we are growing the skill of the people, the student, while they are learning. While they are learning the theory, the skill can be upgraded. And creativity is one of the tools we make among the students to get more input and then more output. And this process, we are using information communication technology for the development. For example, now we have gone for digital health, and we have gone for telemarketing. We have gone for telemedicine. And see, when ICT is going on contributing for the development of the innovation. Another thing, the latest technological tool, like, for example, we are making artificial intelligence. See, when the student is imparted some kind of artificial intelligence and big data analysis technique, and the reach, tracing the whole and reaching in the future become very easier for the innovation. Then I am saying that the need for technological innovation. Growth of population follows the exponential path. So, for example, if we look into the graph, it is a J shape. This is called exponential growth. But whereas the population growth is not easily capped, whereas the developing countries like now India, we are calling that now developing country, the pose of exponential growth trend of the population, it is an S shape. See here, sustainability can be achieved by aligning both the technology and population in a common logic trend. In this diagram, S shape is a logistic path. And if you look into that J shape curve, is an exponential path. See, when the technology is used for the process, the S-shaped curve, again, we have to converge the two shape. I mean, there is a gap coming in between. There is a convergence of this S shape going along with the population, and the population, it's growing. We cannot control that. Even though steps are made, almost our population, I think Dr. Shekhar has given beautiful thing that, no, the first slide, the population growth is growing equivalent to China. Indian population. So when you are using this curve, S-shaped curve as innovation, we can bring longevity of life. As a healthcare person, I can say that no, longevity of life and average longevity of, average age of a person in India, it's around 70. Now it can be enhanced to 80. Now average age become 80 in general. For sustainable development, our government of India and the growth and development personnel identify about 17 parameters for sustainable development. Number one is poverty. No poverty. We have to say no poverty. Then nobody should have a hunger, zero hunger. Then good in health and well-being. That's what we are doing right now. And quality education. When you compare to the quality education, Indian education is much far better than some other developing country. Then gender equality. We never demark gender differences. Gender equality is very important. Clean water and sanitation, which is called WASH. Affordable and clean energy. And we are in the process of utilizing the solar energy. Decent work and economic growth. Number 9, industry, innovation, and infrastructure development. Number 10, reduced inequality. 11, sustainable cities and communities. Responsible consumption and production. 13, climate action. Life below water. That's we are going for blue revolution again. Life on land. Then place just strong and institutional. Partnership for the goals. These are the 7 parameters our people have identified for sustainable development. See, once the innovation occur, we are prone to sustainable development, and we use the technology for the as an instrument for development of our society. And I have given a basic model drivers for global development. The global development starts from the innovation. It enhances the productivity and also increase the efficiency of the people, and also reduce the labor cost. Of course, no machinery modernization and all that reduce the labor cost. So it also increases productivity of the people, and overall turnover will get increased. So innovation leads to more produced capital also. Then human capital is a major factor which globally we have to think in different dimension. It underscores a knowledge-based economy. The need of the day is knowledge-based economy, which is the broad parameter for taking global development out of the outcome of globalization. Innovation. I put a kind of mixed diagram, which is science and technology alone is not the parameter. It should be when you go for global development, it requires arts and humanities also. It requires social science also. It requires management people also for taking forward innovation to society and social situation. Generally, I've classified because all the technocrats and innovators, they classified in 4, 5, 6, sometimes 10. But I've grouped all this innovation, how to take it forward to the academia, and how the academia can take it forward to society, that means through students. So I put in a different pocket. Radical. Of course, it's a idea that the technology breakthrough. I've given for layman understanding, I've given an example that we used once upon a time the landline and the big phone used to handle it. See, the need of the day occurs for over a period of 30 years or 40 years. Now we have gone to mobile. When the mobile applications came, we were able to use big phones, mobile phones, and the charges were heavy. Then we have gone to 2G technology, 3G technology, 4G technology, and we have gone to iOS system, Android system. These are all what we are using right now is based on the technological innovations of the people. It is sometimes radical. It's not breakthrough. So when we want to break through, radical is a sudden change. It's required sometime. The world will, and the absolute one will go away. So other dimension. Sorry, call has come in. Interpreter, sir?
Yeah, now we can hear.
Audible, sir?
Yeah, now it's audible. In the middle, we lost for half a minute. Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear now. We are able to hear.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Doctor, is audible?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear you now. Yeah. Yes. We can hear you.
Hello?
We are able to hear you.
Yeah, able to hear you?
Yeah, we are able to hear. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I'll go. See, the incremental is a gradual thing. See, for example, treatment for patients and all, it will be started with physical thing, and we have gone to slowly to robotics. So to sustain the thing, we have to combine the radical type of innovation, incremental type of innovation, and we have to sustain for sustainable development. And generally speaking, we have to contribute for the governance, secure governance. So for sustaining this secure governance and the making the sustainable development, we have to have a significant development or improvement over the existing technology and framework. For example, in healthcare industry, telemedicine is a new idea. We use artificial intelligence also to trace the patient's record, everything. Robotic surgery also we are using. It's all new innovation, technological innovation from healthcare. Like that, many industry have done a lot of exercise. So to say a few words about my colleague's contribution, uh, don't kill animal for flesh. I can produce flesh, chicken flesh, or the cow flesh, whatever it is. Don't kill animal for the flesh. I will give you a treatment for culture, tissue culture. So he has created tissue culture and created a white meat rather than a red meat. Red meat, you are killing an animal and taking it out. But the white meat is like, what do you call, like, and say, it's equal to the taste of thing. First, initially, the cost of production is higher. Now the KFC is going for patent with him, and patent is raised, and then these are all innovation by the biotechnologies. So what is the need of the day? We have to look into that. That's called sustaining development. We have to keep when we going for not to kill the animal, not to disturb the animal. So they are developing their tissues in a culture base, and then we are going for marketing. Then disruptive culture, sometimes it still take away, disturb the existing one. Say, for example, we used Telegram once upon a time. Even the Telegram department Telegraph department is totally closed. And now people are convenient with their some social media, WhatsApp, and all this thing. So when you look into this kind of various dimension, see, we can arrive at a solution that whatever you do, that should benefit the society, either national or international or local, whatever that is. Society is the people who are to be benefited. So whatever technology is coming up, side by side, dangerous pollutions and also manipulations also occur. Say, for example, technology developed, I've been communicating with the WhatsApp. One day, my Facebook account was also hacked by people. And one person is asking, um, as if I'm asking, I'm in the deprived situation. Kindly transfer 15,000 rupees immediately. I'll pay back in next week. So he is creating a kind of situation that as if I am asking. So people, after seeing my photo and Facebook thing, people are calling me asking, sir, are you in a trouble, financial trouble? Do you really require money? So all this thing, they've been, then immediately we have to use to apply the technology. We have to block it, close the account, create new account and take it forward. So a lot of cyber crimes are occurring because of technology development in electronic field. So to make a contribution to the uh, academia, the academia I call as a general blood group of me. That is now I am a basically academician and administrator university. And the academia, the role towards national development as well as global development should be have a passion for teaching. You should have passion and involvement, dedication, and you should be a real motivator for the students and nationally, internationally. Now we are going a blended mode of teaching, online as well as a reality show, and they have to use the resources. Most of the teachers they are computer illiterate. We have trained them. Most of the teachers, I'm talking about the university and colleges, we have to motivate them how to go in for preparing the slide, how to go in for sharing the slide. Even sometime I learn, I'm a new literate only for the computer operations and all. And sometimes some of the software I will not know how to use that. So I should be educated. So the once the motivation comes from within and goes to the students and society in general. And he has to share the information openly. And he should act as a mentor and catalyst and supportive. And as the final thing, he should be a team leader. So the contribution of a teacher in academic angle to develop innovative students, innovation among the students' mind, creativity very important. And creativity go a long way to make a team to innovate new ideas and translate to the implementers and stakeholders. So let me say a word, encourage younger generation for innovation. That's a message I would like to pass on to the younger generation, that they have to accept the change. It's called change management, which is called management. Accept the change, adopt the change, and follow the changes which are useful for any society or in general to the community nationally and internationally. So with that, I would like to conclude, Doctor.
No, no, wait,
I
wait,
think
wait.
I've exhausted the 25
No,
minutes.
no, no, not exhausted, because it'd be nice to hear Madam Anuradha.
Some call,
Let me introduce.
came in between. Your audio is not
Okay, no, no, we could hear. Only for about 2 minutes we lost you, but we could hear fully. Now let me introduce our the first speaker, who will be second now. Anuradha, she got held up in traffic. So she is the Dean of Bombay University. As we all know, Bombay University is almost 7-8 lakh students, 850 locations. She's the Dean for Science and Technology, of course. And then she herself is in the prime field of pharmacy with her own patents. And she's used to, being with so many large organizations, and then getting good laurels. Has been a good speaker, has been a good administrator, and a good technology specialist. And what better than having a topic of innovation to be to hear from her. So, Anuradha madam, you have a full mic for the next 20 minutes. Because it was to be 10 minutes each, but now because of the little delay, you can whatever. Yeah. We can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Doctor, now Bluetooth, I think power has gone.
Yeah, thank you, thank
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
thank you, Dr. P. Sekhar, for your kind introduction. Chair of today's session, Professor Ilangovan, and our host, Mr. Akram. And it's indeed a privilege and pleasure to be part of this panel discussion. Apologies for the slight delay in joining in. So I concede with what Professor Ilangovan spoke about creativity to be, inculcated in our students, which translates into innovation and new products, because somehow our education system has been such in the past, which probably sort of promoted rote learning and promoted run of the mill follow on students, a sort of a herd mentality. And probably it is changing slightly with the millennials are more, I think, they know their mind. The main change which he was speaking about, the disruptive stealth changes, he gave a very good example of telegram and sms. I feel one of the greatest disruptive stealth change which happened, rather not stealthily but very overtly, was the forced introduction of online mode of education, teaching and learning. And we all across the globe had to adapt and adopt both. And it is a disruptive change, because as Dr. Sekhar is saying, post COVID era as well, in higher education or education per se, we will see the presence of online mode or blended learning rather, because for some of the programs it is possible where laboratory work or wet experimentation, hands-on workshops, etc., is not there. We very well can run the programs on an online mode with such kind of wonderful IT programs like Microsoft Teams, Zoom, Google Meet. There'll be many more coming in the fray, and days would change. Probably education costs would also go down. Higher education would become more seamless and borderless. We would have professors both for academic delivery as well as for research projects, which, across faculties, across global universities coming in. So if you have a bit of time, I have a very short presentation which I
Please,
can
go
run
ahead.
through. Will
Yeah,
that be fine?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So as I
So
said,
you know the admin. Admin is there, no? Please check. You got admin power?
yeah,
Yeah. Please go
I'll
ahead.
just.
Yeah.
So as I was mentioning, um, as Professor Ilangovan also said, now the current education system has to turn to education 4.0 to meet the requirements of the industry 4.0. And for that, innovation is key. Although we have a large population, and Professor Ilangovan was also mentioning about it, we also have the advantage of the demographics of a young population. At the same time, that puts a lot of pressure on us, educationists, policymakers, and the governing system of the country, to create new jobs, to give the population adequate opportunities. For that, to create new enterprise, new jobs, we have to make sure that there is innovation, because economies in the future would be very much innovation driven, because where you have a monopoly, where you have a edge over the others, the big businesses are expected to be more successful. So, as you know, industry revolution has transpired from industry 1 to now we are seeing industry 4.0. We saw mechanization, we saw continuous processes in the industry, and now we see the unique system of the physical form or the physical machinery, and the combination with cyber, with the involvement of artificial intelligence, machine learning, internet of things, internet of services. Things are changing, and they are changing dramatically and very fast. You see, in diagnostics, there's so much of change with use of artificial intelligence in studying and analyzing the diagnostic reports, be it a CT scan or an MRI, and even in an X-ray. Something which is missed by the human senses would be caught would be caught by the algorithm driven, entire database driven softwares, which can capture and identify any flaw in the films or in the tracing material. So that is what we expect. So as I said, this is the same slide. There has been radical changes, and we have seen how much internet, personal devices, computing, all of these are part, data analytics, use of algorithms, bioinformatics are all here to stay. And not only are they here to stay, they are not merely, they are probably, as Dr. Professor Lingovan said, drivers for so basic research many times are also fundamental research, are drivers for innovation and development of new products and processes. As he also said, sustainable processes, greener processes, which are which are going to help us reduce the carbon footprint and preserve our beautiful planet for the future generations. So as you know, the industry 4.0 is built on digital revolution. We have very powerful sensors today. Machine learning is in, artificial intelligence. There would be many processes which would be driven and run by robotics, real time remote control of machines and processes from remote locations. All of these are possible today. We are aware how things have changed since you and me, probably got into our job fields and were there 1 decade more, around 2 decades in our jobs, maybe more. And what did not exist is today, what do you call it, key things in our, they are key things in our life. We cannot do without them. iPhone, iPad, 4G, 5G today, Uber. There are so many things, Android, Instagram. If you ask the youngsters, even me, people like me, probably part of Instagram, WhatsApp. Now we've seen all the controversy related to WhatsApp and the privacy policies, etc. Things change fast. A Kodak company, which was so popular when we were kids, when photographs were taken, and see how the digital cameras have taken over. There are so many technologies which have become redundant, machines which are obsolete now. So what RUSA says is that the Rashtriya Uchatar Shiksha Abhiyan says 40 to 60% jobs which we would see in the next 1 or 2 decades do not exist today. So basically, we are gearing students up, training them for jobs which do not exist. So we are basically giving them a sound foundation, and we expect them to build on it and scale up in their during their career. So see the kind of outreach which internet and World Wide Web has offered. The time required for technologies and devices to reach 100 million customers. Telephone took 75 years, the web took 7 years to reach 100 million customers. And today, a Pokemon Go and virtual gaming platform from Nintendo has reached 100 million customers in 1 month. Very popular with the youngsters, including the school kids. It's a total distraction. Now, coming to innovation, we need not innovate. It is not invention of the wheel again. The wheel exists. There are many technologies which exist. We can optimize technologies, make it more sustainable, reduce cost, optimize and augment its attributes, widen the scope of its application. All these things is possible. A wheel can be used in a turbine. It is used in several forms of vehicles. So you can see, so you can see the pulleys. You can see the multiple of use of the structure of the wheel. It's very important for our students to understand, our young population, our researchers who have joined the research laboratory and started their PhD or postdoctoral program, that they have to not only do concentrate on basic research, but when they are doing applied research, it should not be run of the mill. They have to keep the societal requirements in the picture. They have to take cognizance of the unmet need, try to mitigate that unmet need with their product or service or process. So these things are very important. It can be from effluent treatment to greener processes to a product, for the differently abled, whatever. There are so many domains across the faculties. So this is a pictorial representation. You need not reinvent the wheel. In fact, in pharma, Professor Ilangovan must be aware, Dr. Sekhar must be aware, many times innovation based company comes with a product, patents it, but another company may come out with the fifth molecule, a follow on molecule, which becomes a blockbuster. It becomes a blockbuster because it has probably circumvented the limitations of the molecule one. So the first company would have spent anywhere between 800 million to more than 1 million US dollars. And then the company comes with a fifth molecule, which has taken over the market by storm. So it's what you add, the value add which you give to the product, and that is innovation. If you see the global innovation index, and 130 economies have been covered. In 2019, India was placed at rank 48, at rank 52nd. And in 2020, we came 4 notches higher, and we are now at the 48th rank, and the first rank in Central and Southern Asia. If you see US globally ranked third, the top country in the global innovation index is Switzerland, such a small country, but see how the impact it has with respect to innovation index. So many companies, the inception is from Switzerland. But if you see the university contribution in the innovation index of that particular country, USA is doing very, very well. The Stanford, the MIT, the Harvards, they have such state of the art, well equipped, including the manpower. They have such wonderful scientists. MIT, Robert Langer's name comes into the picture. So much of innovation in pharma, bioscaffolding from a chemical engineer. So, there they do not have rigid mindsets and of watertight compartments. I'm a chemical engineer. I cannot go to pharma. I cannot go to agriculture. They understand that the sky is the limit and applications is myriad. And they approach it with the attitude is that they approach it that way with a broader scope of application of their innovation. So if you see the number of universities in Reuters top 100 by country, United States tops the list. And we do not figure here. If you see, it is China also, which is doing well, Japan, so South Korea. So where do we stand? South Korea, the kind of pipeline of innovation they are having. And remember now, future, the greatness of the economy, your economy, has to, if you want to bolster your economy, it has to be innovation driven. And as Dr. Sekhar said, unleashing, rather, I think we have leashed ourselves, especially in IT and this, we are already, running the race, but probably we have to unbridle ourselves in many other sectors, very similar to like we did in our IT coding, etc., and those kind of services. So if you see just MIT in USA has filed 1,614 odd patents between 2012 to 2017 with a success rate of 44%, commercial impact score of 169.2, which is really, really good. Remember, commercial impact need not be hardcore patents. So our academicians need to file not only an Indian patent, they have to file the PCT, which comes under the Patent Cooperation Treaty. And remember that this Global Innovation Index is declared by WIPO along with the Cornell Business School. So our academicians, the moment they understand that the innovation which they have has potential for commercialization and translation, they should immediately within 1.5 years try to file a PCT, try to get a collaborator if it is not possible within their limits, beyond their limits. So they should find collaborators, industrial partners, and go ahead with it and make sure that their institution and they themselves get royalty and other rights. In Asia Pacific, China tops the list. We are very much behind, very close to New Zealand, which is such a small country. So, if you see our civilization, we have been always innovation driven. We have the Lothal, we have the so many heritage structures. It shows huge buildings which were created, monuments created, and we wonder how did they take those big blocks of stone there, right? How did they create it with such kind of geometric symmetry? The sun temples, etc. It is a marvel. Astronomy, the kind of information which comes from our forefathers, from the Vedic ages, it's marvelous. Why can't we do that today? Why are this a condition to be bridled? We need to unbridle ourselves. We have already leashed our power in the global scene, but we need to unbridle ourselves. If you see our Indian universities contribution to India's global innovation index, it is majorly by the IITs. So I think we really, and the numbers are less. So you see, the patent was running into 1600 alone from MIT. Our IITs together around 207 global patents. So we need to really buck up our innovation this. As Professor Ilangovan was also mentioning, I agree that disruptive innovation is required so that you can take over and sweep the market in certain sectors and product pipeline. And one of this is we have already seen, smartphones, video streaming like Netflix taking over Tata Sky. Today, youngsters always use either Amazon Prime or Netflix. Online education, one more disruption, which started, as I said, accelerated harbinger of the change has been the COVID-19 pandemic, as has been mentioned in your title as well, Dr. Sekhar. So we need to innovate because we have a highly populous country. We have demands across sectors, so we will get buyers, whether it is service driven or product driven. It will improve the quality of life of our population. Probably innovation, probably like the corporate social responsibility is there. We should also sort of prompt through policy the corporate houses to sponsor academic research and innovation and take it ahead. That can be one form of bolstering academic innovation. The government in its own part has done a lot. Atmanirbhar Bharat, the clarion call of our honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi after the COVID-19 pandemic, the moment he realized that PPEs were, falling short globally, ventilators, BIRAC came into the picture. So much of grant was given across India, and we came out with indigenous products. So Atmanirbhar Bharat, Make in India, the new national education policy 2020, all probably would try to bring in this change, make a paradigm change of improving the innovation, outcomes from academic higher educational institutions and universities other than IITs. IITs already are doing it, but to bolster it, we have, as I said, a demographic dividend of a young population. I don't think that vernacular languages is any issue because looking at China, they are doing so well across all fraternities, all domains. So I don't think so. But yes, challenges are limited resources and funding. But when you have a novel idea, a robust plan for execution. I think Government of India has lot of funding proposals and projects which can be tapped. BIRAC is one of them in biotechnology, which really gives a lot of translational research from academia. They actually help even to get industry partner and to take it ahead. So NEP 2020 is really going to, once it pans out, is going to revamp the education structure and prepare our students for 21st century education. So NEP 2020 basically would, try to give more fundamental foundation skills to our learners, soft skills, so that they do well in their workplace and the enterprise which they take up, and higher order cognitive skills, applied skills, more flexible, what you call it, provision of flexibility with respect to choices of courses which they can take. And that would probably make them more holistic and more ready to take on the world in this 21st century. So with that, I'll stop sharing. And as Professor Ilangovan said, I think adaptation is the key. Students have to adapt to the changing scenario, the changing science and technology platforms, and we have to be at it. And lifelong learning is going to be a very important thing now. Dr. Sekhar, you have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, sorry. That is the, technology people will first fail the technology. So, what I was trying to, say is that, in all these things, there are a few things which are right. There are a few things which are interpretational. Okay. See, innovation, yes, India needs to grow in a long way, because, people like you being there, we can be 100% sure that it will be a different world. Because people like me see the thing from what an outsider's eye, because outsiders have a huge expectation from India. People of different magnitude, they say India is a savior for the whole world, okay, and people who matter, and from various dimensions. Almost every second, third day, I'm called to address some country's major this thing, and when the other person says India means something great, okay. So fortunately, your own field of pharma has come to prove that what is being said is right, and what is being said is this. But certain things we need a little correction. Because when you showed all the slides, this even one or two more places I have told. Somewhere people try to, compare things in such a way that India is shown in the end. Okay, India cannot be in such a way in which India is projected. If India is, whatever it is, 50% of the American CEOs will not be from India. Because Indians' education is far more robust than what is projected. It is not IIT alone. Please note that all the CEOs of various international companies today, even China is welcoming many Indian companies, Indians to come and hit their this thing, and they're all coming from Indian education, from even people whom we call in India the unheard of institutes. I know some of the directors of major banks, which university, something they say which I never heard, but they say he's brilliant, he's very good. So it is the Indian talent plus the system. System needs upgradation because of our numbers. Yes, it is not that we are perfect. We are nowhere near perfect. We want to improve because we want to this thing. Just like in environment, I always see people say, as if we are destroying nature. We are not nature. For nature, we don't even exist. For nature, human beings don't even exist. If some outside element come to the world, but they will not know whether there is any human here, but they will have to search and find out, because we constitute 1% of the world's, or not even 1%, less than 1%. But we need to be environmentally good, because we need to live around a good environment. Making Delhi so much polluted and making Bombay so much polluted, it's very bad. But nature is not going to be affected by making Delhi, and we are going to be affected. Same way, for our own innovation, we want to be good. We want to do it something much better than what we are doing. Otherwise, we are not as bad as some of this for information pointed out by foreigners. They say we keep specialists, we fund this thing to make our thing look better. So we also need to fight back by people like Majumdar, who should put the ratings in such a way that we are not shown as bad. We don't want to artificially inflate our numbers. but we need to show ourselves far better than what we are being shown. We are not 48th in innovation. Please understand. We are far, far. Others will not be the fifth largest this thing economically. Okay. Of course, economy GDP is one more index one, because we should also know that GDP is not a real strength. Today, even when we say that we are 74% literate, oh, we are so bad, everybody is 90. See, we are considering our own grandmothers and mothers who can give you relief for COVID and all so easily as somebody uneducated. Is it correct? They can give relief to so many things which we can't even dream of, and we consider them uneducated. And people like you and me know that it is not our degrees alone which should be respected, our real knowledge. And knowledge-wise, we are this. There anyway. The moment it comes to the first generation, the so-called education generated will come. But from the point of view of innovation, we need to go from not what the foreigners are projecting. We are far above what foreigners are projecting, but we need to go a very high level than what we are today, because expectations from the world is very, very high today. People are ready to fund, people are ready to collaborate, people are ready to come, people are ready to take our people. In fact, in another survey, you know what I'm saying, that we should also have, students going abroad in a much bigger number than what we are beginning, because they need us. We are not trying to push our students abroad. That they need us. You also will be having so many foreigners come and say, give me Indian students, give me Indian students. And we generally believe that, good people grow abroad. No, we have got enough good people here also. People who would like to go abroad, people who would like to make a better, living abroad, better. It is just like a person going, it is just like a girl getting married to somebody. It doesn't mean that she's angry with the father shows she's going. She's going different life. In both places, they will be good. And innovation is something which has to be put on a high thrust. Now coming to real this thing, because right from a toy to a spacecraft, we should have students doing innovative items. There we have to give a lot more freedom than what we are giving today in education institutions. There we have to also quantify it, because many of us do something and everybody keeps it under the wraps. If you see, our own students, what they have done, they are not literally coming out into the others dimension. There's a lot of bureaucracy which is set in, which I'm sure people like you are there to take care. And we will, just like what example you gave, within the shortest possible time, we could make the vaccine, we could make PP kit, we could make so many things which are there. And let me also tell you, even in this virtual world, the way we are running even education, foreigners are not running like this. They have got a lot of problems in this thing. There are a lot of revolt going on, and we are running better. But by that, we let us not go to our head that we are better than them. That we are better than them. But let them not put us into much lower than what we are. That's the only thing in terms of our thing. So coming to a concluding remark from both of you, that with all this thing happening, we need to really go fast. Okay, and both of you have given an excellent presentation of uh, really thought provoking, and this should be highlighted to the students. It should be highlighted to the world at large, because just like other part which I said, people do not know that some such thing is there to be noted, to be seen, to be appreciated, to be followed, and also to be implemented. Because when ideas come from a student, there should be a structure available by which they can do. In many of the institutions, they got an entrepreneurship cell. They're all languishing. They are not being used as they should be used, and which we should use them. Then we will get into a different league, which the world is expecting India, and India needs it. India also cannot be dormant, because India produces 20 million people every year, which means we need to provide 20 million jobs for 20 million people who are born 20 years back, and for who are born today. And those will come by a proper innovative approach. And every field, I am of course rather discussing blue economy. Blue economy can give tremendous employment. We have to do it fast. Then you go to even as big as space, because people believe space industry does not take so many people. There are so many things which are the space industry, which is unbelievable. Not a question of one rocket goes and the scientists clap. Below the 100 scientists, there are million people who have to work, and impact of it for common man's use, they are all of a different magnitude. So every sector has got a huge growth phenomena, huge numbers of employment phenomena. On transportation alone, more than 100 million people are required, because it is just not a question of just some electric vehicle will come tomorrow and then everything will go. There are, right, charging itself will occupy almost 50 million people. So every sector has got your pharma industry. Pharma industry is going to grow in a big way. Pharma coupled with Ayurvedic, Ayurvedic and yoga, they are getting. If yoga is a $80 billion industry in USA, we can imagine what we are missing. I don't think any part of it is coming to India, except for some small thing. And we are the people who did it. Whereas we never projected that those people are all ours. We are ready to be subjugated, which we should not. So, coming to the crux and coming to having some end conclusion, in what way are the steps being taken, to be taken, and for the actual results to be reflected, to see that we are in the top 10 league in the world, not only for innovation, of development, and also of our, like you rightly said, if you could have made such beautiful thing thousands of years back, where has it gone? How to project it? Of course, not to live on past. We should not. Past should be only an indicator for future. Okay. How do we do? Can we have some concluding remarks starting from Professor Ilangavan?
Sir,
Just 2 minutes only. Yeah? Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, please. We are not able to hear you.
Yeah. I think I have to
No, no, we can hear
unmute
you.
or yeah. So thank you, doctor, for your nice interpretation, and Dr. Anuradha also done excellent way of comparing with other countries how the innovations are going. See here, as a concluding thing, there are innovators, there are innovations are coming up, but for taking a patent is a big task in India. See, submitting it and proving it, and see, it's a lengthy process. My concluding submission for this the elite audience of this committee, I mean this summit, uh, the when somebody invented new ideas or new thinking, the liberalization of the patent procedure to be cleared. Then only the people come forward to submit the patent and get the patent and then develop it. Whether it is commercialized, to be commercialized, or maybe uncommercialized, the patent patenting process should be simplified. That's my. Then only it will generate the young people to come forward and say their idea. See, a couple of memes I got through the WhatsApp and other thing. A person invented a small cycle for a handicapped person. He should, because it's foldable and then he's making through that. So if any utility value for the product is there, without taking into consideration of the qualification background or the technical background, everything, the patent to be accepted.
Okay. Madam.
Yeah, I think as Dr. Ilangovan has said, see, sometimes, innovation stems, the National Innovation Foundation. And as our former president said, many of Dr. Abdul Kalam, that, innovation stems are many of the times from villages, out of
Yeah,
need. It's always driven out of need. And those villagers, whether it is water harvesting or crop protection or crop storage, they do many things just to survive. And it is many times their actions and the way they do it, or catching fish, is driven by, is driven by need, but they also innovate. And our government have done really well to identify such innovation and awarded them. We also have lot of biodiversity and endemic, regional
correct.
nuanced, some products which actually are so innovative. And as he was talking about academic patenting, I agree. Many times, we should not undermine basic research, let that go on. But for translational research, they cannot, academicians are handling undergraduate teaching, postgraduate teaching along with research, unless it's a, a organization like ICER, there also undergrads are there. So it's very, very taxing on them. It's too much of work pressure, academic delivery, examination, assessment, mentoring, along with research. The educational institution, HEIs, higher educational institutions, should have corpus funds to identify what you call it, meritorious proposals of filing innovations, considering all confidentiality norms, and provide all assistance of patent attorneys and legal support till it gets filed. After it gets granted, also to give patent support to maintain the patent, because you have to pay for the maintenance annually. Unless that happens, it will be very difficult. So it has to be a systemized, institutionalized process. You cannot just tell the professors you patent, and the country needs it. They would need full support. They will need logistic support. They would need financial support. And there also we can have a system of selection based on merit, and the what you call it, the promise of a kind of innovation, and its promise to get translated into a product with wide application. And with that, I would like to conclude.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We had the largest, one of the largest private sector and largest public institution. And India is safe with people like you. That much I can vouch, because I've seen both of you in the actual working system. So innovation is there to play, and innovation has to go in a long way. Cannot be satisfied with whatever we are doing. But same time, like I said, we should not be blown down by others in terms of as a non-innovative country or system. And with that, I will also conclude thanking both of you and seeing that this goes into a different dimension. So, thank you.